What's up, y'all? This is episode number 40, and my next conversation with an interesting person. Today, I talked with my friend Jenna, and she is a National Guard Blackhawk pilot, as well as a private investigator. So there was a bunch of interesting stuff that we dived into, got onto a bunch of topics, and it was a really fun conversation. It was great catching up with her and being able to talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. She's got some really cool insight and stories to share. So thank you once again to Jenna for coming on. If you are in the Austin area and you need your TV mounted on the wall, your sound system upgraded, anything to do with your entertainment/TV setup, hit up Bat City TV. Let them know the Sovereign Individual podcast sent you, and they'll hook it up with a discount. And thank you once again to Flavor Aid for creating the intro music you're about to hear. Their EP All My Life is available on Spotify and wherever you listen to music, so check them out. And please enjoy this conversation with an interesting person. See, the enemy of the state is the individual. It all comes down to who you trust. And for me, that answer is never going to be the government. You can look at all the violence and corruption and hypocrisy of the state, yet I'm the crazy one for thinking that it shouldn't exist. What's up, y'all? This is the Sovereign Individual podcast, and today I have another conversation with an interesting person. My guest today is a good friend of mine, known her for
been like 9 years.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah. I was like 21. Okay, yeah. So like 9 years now that I've known her. I knew her when she was a Navy ROTC cadet, or midshipman rather, and then she became an Army cadet and went to the dark side. She's a pilot that flies Blackhawk helicopters. She's also a private investigator. She's a graduate of the University of Texas, so hook 'em. She's a Blackhawks fan, which isn't that cool, and she's a Packers fan, which is a little bit cooler. Welcome, Jenna Fechner.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It's gonna be fun.
When you told me that you wanted me to be on your podcast, I was like, why the fuck? I'm not interesting.
You're super interesting. You're super interesting. So let's talk first, I guess. I want to talk pilot stuff because that's really cool. So flying Blackhawk helicopters, most people probably are only aware those exist because of Black Hawk Down. Mm-hmm. And it's really cool. You know, we did, when I was on Courtramid, I did simulations, or simulators rather. And so the jet simulator was super easy. And we had to land on an aircraft carrier.
Was it really? Oh, I've never done one, no.
Oh, it was so easy because you're just moving one joystick and then you're just supposing to land on the carrier. And so I was seeing people go through and they would land and then they would get off, and so you were only on it for 20 seconds. So my first time going down, I didn't land on purpose. So they're all right, try it again. I was like, cool, I get to go a little bit longer. But then we did a helicopter one, and you using all four limbs basically, right?
They're all doing different things.
Dude, I crashed. All of us crashed so fast. I was like, fuck, I don't know what's going on. So how does that even work?
So with your left hand, you have something called the collective, and it changes the actual lift, how much lift your main rotor blades are producing. So up and down is kind of with your left hand, so that's simulates, helicopter going up and down. Mm-hmm. With your right hand is the cyclic, so that does changes the pitch of your blades as well to make you go left, right, forward, backwards, whatever. And then you have your feet where you use the pedals to kind of do the yaw aspect. So if you're hovering, you want to turn left, right, that kind of thing. So it's all that kind of going on at once. Jesus. And the hardest thing to learn how to do was hover. And I think in flight school it took me about 12 hours before I actually got it. And something just clicks and you're able to do it. But
so hovering, I'm assuming you're not just not touching anything.
Oh, no, yeah. It's everything. So you have to, it gets to a point where it's just second nature. And so the second you feel, something moving, the wind kind of bumping you one way or another, you just move the controls and kind of stay put. So it's not hard to learn, actually. Oh, I say that, but did you ever go up in a Seahawk at Courtramid?
Yeah. We went in a SA-60.
That's what made me actually want to fly helicopters. Was that when I did that?
it was really cool.
Yeah.
Where did you go, east or west coast?
West. I was in San Diego.
I was in Norfolk, so we flew out over the ocean for a little bit.
Oh, I didn't even know that they sent people out there.
Like not far, but like just a little bit. It was really it was beautiful.
Yeah. And then I spent that week on a ship, and that's what made me not want to be in the Navy, actually. So I was like, fuck this shit, man.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I would have never wanted to be a SWO. I wanted to go subs before I dropped out. Subs was fun.
Yeah, that was really cool. I don't know how I would handle like not seeing the sun, but
yeah,
it was real cool.
We did 2 weeks. Do you remember Strain?
Mm-hmm.
Strain? Yeah. So Strain and I, we went to San Diego for 2 weeks for a sub cruise for our second class cruise.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so that was super fun.
Yeah, I was out by then.
Yeah, so that's okay. So that's a lot different too. Then, as far as I know, from helicopters, like when it was a sub, we're fucking looking at numbers, like there's nothing to see.
Mm-hmm.
With a helicopter, from what I understand, even different from like flying a plane. Like plane, you're relying on instruments a lot. You don't necessarily have to be able to see super well. Helicopter, like if you can't see, it's pretty difficult. That's kind of like what caused the Kobe crash, right?
Yeah. So we actually learn how to fly instruments as well, but it is a lot of visual flight rules. Yes, I would say, because we don't fly as high as airplanes. So we learn all the same stuff. We learn how to do instrument approaches, learn how to fly without being able to see outside, flying in the clouds, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a lot more low level flying, I guess is how you would explain it. Yeah,
right. And then because as far as I understand, like a big reason why the crash happened with Kobe was because of the fog.
Yeah.
And, like the pilot couldn't see a mountain coming up that they crashed into. So obviously you're moving quickly. Is there instrumentation that can warn you before it's oh shit time that there's something coming up?
Definitely, yeah. So I haven't listened to the air traffic control tapes at all, but from what I understand, nobody was flying that day. Like everyone was kind of grounded because the weather, police weren't flying, all that kind of stuff. So the hardest, that actually I think weather causes the most crashes, at least in the States. And the hardest thing I think for people to do is commit. So especially with who he had on board, I'm assuming, is starting to get foggy, and it's an actual emergency. You have to declare an emergency, and you're supposed to go into the clouds. And then it's pretty easy from there. It's scary as hell, but you talk to who you need to talk to, you pull up your instrument approaches, and then ATC can get you right in, and they can get you landed probably from wherever he took off. I don't know how far he had actually made it. And obviously I don't know exactly what happened, but from what it sounds like, he was trying to fly visual and instruments at the same time, got kind of confused, had no idea how low he was, and then I guess you can hear ATC saying, "You're too low, we're not getting you," and then I guess just crashed into the side of a mountain, I think. Yeah. That's what it sounds like. Damn. So yeah, weather I think played a role.
Mic a little bit closer. Hey, that should be good. All right, cool. Just a little behind the scenes stuff going on. Okay, so because I imagine you're flying, when you're deployed, you're flying night missions as well as daytime missions. So, do you all wear night vision when you're flying?
Yeah, we do night vision goggles. Yep, because especially you can fly unaided around the city, really, because there's so many lights. But out there's fucking nothing. It's just you could be flying over water for all you know. It's just completely dark, especially if there's no moon, kind of thing. But yeah, we fly goggles at night.
That's wild. Yeah. That's wild. So what? So okay. So you were. Have you only been on the one deployment over to the Middle East?
Yep. Yeah. I just got back in May.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
How long were you there?
9 months.
9. Okay.
Yeah. And then we had a 3-month train up, so I was gone for a year.
Where was the train up?
It was all over the place. We went up to Wyoming, and then we were at Fort Hood for most of it, and then Fort Sill, Oklahoma as well.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, that sucks.
The day we got there, they actually pulled a condemned sign off of the building that they stuck us in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, it was awesome. I loved it. Yeah. Oh. Typical Oklahoma.
Yeah, right. That state. Okay, so 9 months over there, and then we were talking when the missile strike just happened not too long ago. You were at that base. That was the FOB you were at?
I went to almost every place there, actually. So I was in Taji for a while, which is just north of Baghdad. And then I was in Erbil, which is like northern Iraq. It's a little bit east of Mosul, and they got hit too. I don't think anybody died in that one. But it's like up in the mountains. It's actually beautiful.
Yeah.
And
I've heard parts of it are like gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. It was pretty cold there, but the mountains are so pretty. Like you'd think you were in Colorado. Some parts of it is really pretty.
Yeah.
And then I was at Al Asad for a little bit, which was the one that got hit bad and a few people died. And then I was also in Al Qaim, which is just on it's like kind of on the border of Iraq and Syria. It's right at the middle Euphrates River Valley, where a lot of that fighting was going on when they were clearing ISIS out. And it was just like a bombed out train station. Like I could run the entire perimeter and it was a mile.
Oh, wow.
It was real tiny.
Damn.
So we had people out there. I was doing medevac coverage out there. And then I was also in Syria for a little bit too. So I was all over the place.
Yeah. That's wild. How many, so like that one that was, you could run it in a mile, the perimeter, about how many people would be there at a time?
Oh man, I don't know. I would say there was maybe like a few hundred. It was just super small though. Like it was the kind of place where they didn't even have a kitchen, so we were getting food convoyed in. And it was like 3 days old by the time it would get to us. So we were basically
just fucking eat MREs at that point.
Oh no, we were living off snacks. Like we had a crazy snack stash out there, and we just take all the mail that people would get and bring it out to Al Qaim.
Oh, okay.
And it was like if you didn't get there right when the DFAC opened, you wouldn't eat. And there's like days we were just eating like noodles out of a cup, kind of thing.
Damn.
Like, but actually, I loved that place. I loved it out there.
Yeah.
Like no internet, and you get really close with each other. You're all living in one big tent, and yeah. I actually really liked it out there. Syria was my favorite, though. Syria was a blast.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's cool. I'm assuming we can't talk a whole lot of details about time over there. But so what's it like on like a daily basis when you're at one of these forward operating bases? Like, do you have to be armed at all times? Like, what's it like when you wake up and go throughout your day?
Yeah, it depends on what the threat is like over there. So when I was over there, Iran was just a little bit crazy. They weren't fully ramped up. Yeah. So you're always carrying your weapon on you. So we were lucky we got M9s. A lot of other people had M4s, M16s, that kind of thing. Okay. But you're always carrying it with you. And then if things get a little bit dicier, sometimes you got to wear body armor, Kevlar, that kind of thing everywhere you go. But I'd say like typical day. So I am an air assault pilot. So mostly what we focus on is bringing troops onto objectives, taking them out, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But really our main job over there was we were basically glorified taxi drivers is how I describe it. We're doing mostly air movements, like passenger movements, that kind of thing. So I was a platoon leader over there, flight company platoon leader. So I had a really great time over there. I was getting to fly just as much as everybody else, which is really cool. I was flying my ass off. So you just get missions a couple days prior, plan them, and then you go out, fly for like a few hours every day. And then the last couple months I was doing medevac chase, which is just, since you got these medevac birds that, according to Geneva Conventions, you got the Red Cross on the side. They can't carry weapons.
You're not supposed to shoot them, right?
Right. Well, yeah, you're not supposed to.
Technically,
yeah. But they can't carry weapons, and nobody flies alone overseas. You're always flying with at least two aircraft. So we would follow them, follow the medevac birds wherever they went with our 240s, so we can kind of fuck shit up if we need to, that kind of thing. And then, we provided extra space if they needed it, if they had, mass casualty, that kind of thing.
Oh, damn, okay.
And so that's what I was doing for the last 2 months. And that one you kind of just sit around until you get a call, kind of thing. So less flying.
It's kind of like being on call type thing.
Yeah, which is good when there's not a lot of calls. But yeah.
About how many can you fit in a Blackhawk?
So if you don't have crew chiefs, which are your maintainers in the back, you can fit 13. But then you always have to fly with crew chiefs overseas because they're operating the machine guns. So 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. And then, so this is just kind of, I was just thinking about this. I never fully went out to the Navy, so a lot of it was just kind of hearsay, but I know, like, it was always talked about, at least among the pilots about like, oh yeah, the flyboys gotta get their fucking sleep. Like you gotta get your 8 hours or else you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
So I imagine that's how serious is that still taken in a theater out there? Like, are you still like, are they still making sure you get your sleep, or is it kind of like we're in a fucking war zone? Like you gotta go when you gotta go sometimes.
So yeah, you're definitely correct with how pilots act. Like we are very, very bougie and very particular about our sleep. So it's it's regulation. So if
it's important,
right? Yeah. So when you get done with your mission, yeah, you need that 8 hours. But there's so much more that goes into it. There's maintenance, and then we're living in a different place than where your aircraft is. So that kind of thing, travel, eating, all that kind of stuff. You got to shower, and so you end up sleeping a lot less than you probably should. But we managed it pretty well. Flying every other day. Some people were flying a lot more than others. But yeah, we definitely need our sleep as pilots. I swear, I love my pilots. I love my warrant officers, but I've never worked with like a more whiny bunch of little divas than I have hilarious with them in my whole life. But it's good. It's, the
maintenance guys suck out there. I imagine there's just sand fucking everywhere.
Yeah. But our maintenance guys were just unbelievable, spot on all the time. Yeah, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
it's
just got to be so much shittier than being like stateside.
And then getting parts and like all that stuff. We actually had a lot of contractors over there that helped us with maintenance, which was really helpful because our maintainers are also flying. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was a pain in the ass, that's for sure. And then you got all these people demanding aircraft constantly every single day, and you gotta give them kind of a reality check, expectation management kind of thing. Like, hey, remember where we are.
Yeah, we can't just get something overnighted to us.
No, not exactly.
And so just to kind of explain, so you are in the reserves, correct?
National Guard, yeah.
Or National Guard, rather. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, are you going to be doing another deployment anytime soon, or are you going to reach your like time in and get out? Kind of what are you looking at?
So the requirement is the day you graduate flight school, you have 6 years left.
Okay.
So I graduated July of 2017, so I still got like 3.5 years left. Yeah. But I've moved to a staff position now, so I drill up in Dallas instead of Austin, and it's a lot less flying. So that's what I'm doing right now. They're scheduled for a deployment in a couple years. I'm not sure if I'm going to be on that or if I'm going to be moving to a different unit by then, because it's generally 2 years in a position that you do.
Yeah. You cycle out.
But I am planning on getting out when my contract is up. Yeah. My body's just so messed up, and I found a lot greater passion with my civilian career. But I love flying. I love it. If my body wasn't so messed up, I'd still do it. But
yeah, I imagine it's got to be taxing in you're using all four limbs, so you're not just like sitting there, and you're not like, you hear these stories about, at least with commercial pilots flying, like for Southwest or whatever, like they can put it pretty much on autopilot and just chill. Like that's not what you're doing anytime you're flying. So I imagine that's pretty stressful on the body.
Yeah, and then you've got this vest that's pulling you forward. You got body armor. You've got the seatbelt that's pulling you forward. You've got the seats are just awful. The vibrations, like everything. So everyone's got really messed up backs from it. Yeah.
That sucks. Yeah. But also very cool. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned your civilian career. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
You're a private investigator.
Yes.
So how did that come about?
So I guess I'll go back to when I was little. Ever since I was like real young, I always wanted to be in the FBI. Like when I was in 4th grade, I had a little FBI card that I would carry around with me everywhere. I just thought it was like, that was my dream. Like I wanted to be like a special agent kind of thing. Yeah. I would buy like this little spy gear from Target and like try to spy on my sister, that kind of stuff. So when I was thinking about how I was going to go about it, because it's so competitive, that's kind of where the military thing came into play.
Okay, yeah.
And I wasn't going to get a scholarship for sports, maybe academics, but one of my friends that I've known since I was born, he flies F-18s for the Navy. So he convinced me to join Navy ROTC, which is actually how I started that. And
Yeah. That was how we met, through Tip Face.
Yeah, exactly.
Marissa, sorry.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love her. She's one of my favorite people.
She's great. Yeah, we can get into that later.
Okay. So, what was I talking about? Okay, so I started off ROTC scholarship. So, I had never been to Texas in my life. I just knew I wanted to go somewhere warm and far away. So I just randomly applied to schools.
Because you grew up in
Chicago.
Okay.
Just outside of Chicago, west suburbs. Yeah. And so I got into UT, visited, I loved it, never left.
Same here.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's great. So, I did the whole military thing, tried to do the pilot thing because I wanted to kind of build my resume for the FBI eventually.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we had our Navy scholarships, you had to have like a math or science major, whatever. So
see, that wasn't the case when I was in before that became a thing. Although I was an astronomy major, which still, I mean, it was so fucking
astronomy
stupid.
is badass though.
It's not when you take it as a major though.
Oh,
see, that's what I was thinking, because I was like, I just want to be an officer. I don't give a shit what my major is. Like, I'm just trying to get into the Navy, and so I was like, astronomy's always been super interesting to me, and it should have given me fucking red flags that they were like, oh yeah, there's no what do they call it? Not undergrad, but Janet or whatever. Like, you know, the first 2 years where it's not like major specific.
I looked into it too.
There were no classes that were required in astronomy at that point.
Oh, okay.
So that should have sent off red flags. But I took a couple of astronomy courses and they were interesting, like at that lower level. And then I actually get into like my junior year, and it's, dude, it was.
Wait, did you ever take the search for extraterrestrial life at UT?
No, I wanted it. I couldn't get into that one.
It was the biggest fucking waste of my time. It was so bad.
Like easy?
No, it was just so irrelevant. Like, I didn't learn one thing from that class.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It was just kind of like a crazy guy standing up there with the Birkenstocks and socks and
that's awesome.
Talking about crazy shit. I couldn't tell you. The Drake equation, that's the one thing I learned from that class.
Yeah.
That's
for
it.
Sure. Yeah, and then, you get into the actual, like, nuts and bolts of the major, and it's all math and physics.
Yeah.
And, like, even the astronomy classes are all math and physics. Like, it's not... I was just sitting there, I was like, when are we going to do the cool shit? Like, I don't fucking care about the flux coming off a star at this point in space. Like, somebody way smarter than me figured out that, and like, I trust that equation. I don't need to verify it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, and so it really didn't work. The semester where I quit, I had stellar astronomy, which was insane amount of math, differential equations.
Oh.
And wave physics.
Oh.
And I was just like, it reached a point where I was just like, I walked into the LT's office. I was like, I gotta change my major.
Yeah.
I hate this. Like, I can't do it. And they're like, you're way too far along for that. And so I was like,
you were junior?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was 20. And so, being the smart 20-year-old that I was like, all right, then I'm gonna need my DOR papers.
Damn.
And so, it wasn't, I mean, it was already kind of, like, my views on, like, the government and being a part of it were changing, so that played a role in it too. But then it was just like, no, I can't even change my major. So yeah, that was rough. But anyway, sorry. So
no.
But yeah, that, like, I was going to school at the same time with like people who were fucking majoring in like history and like other, like all the Marines especially. They were just taking the most bullshit majors you could take, because it was the same thing. They're like, I don't fucking care. I'm going to be a Marine for my life. Like, I just want to be an officer. And so
you gotta love the Marines.
I love those crazy motherfuckers. But yeah, so we were grandfathered in, but I think it was either the next year or the year after when they started that, where you had to do some sort of like math based or engineering based degree.
Yeah, it was the same thing. Like, I was taking calculus and physics, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing right now? I was just undeclared, College of Natural Sciences. I had no idea. I was like, there's nothing. And I looked into astronomy. That was probably what I was going to end up doing. But then I was like, I got to take 2 years of physics. Like, I was struggling just to get by in that intro class.
And that's like the advanced, those are like, in addition to the 2 years of physics you have to take just in like the gen ed.
Yeah. That class was so insane. I remember the first test that I had, I didn't even get halfway through.
Yeah.
And so easily failed it, and my grade got like curved to a C. Like it was curved at least 2 letter grades. It was that hard because everybody was failing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, my first wave physics test, I was just like, at one point there's like a series of like 7 questions, and it's like a 14 question test, and it's like a series of 7, and I just wrote, I'm sorry. Like,
I'm head out.
I'm not even gonna make an attempt on
shit.
it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So wait, what were we talking about? Okay.
How you got into PI?
Okay.
Like,
sorry,
eventually.
I'm on all kinds of crazy
tangents. No, it's fine.
So when I switched over to the Army, they don't give a fuck what you study. So I still hadn't really found a passion for anything yet. And I took my first sociology class.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I hated school for the first 18 years of my life. And that was the first class I ever took where I was actually reading the book and like interested. And I don't remember what it was we were learning. I think maybe it was some of the social experiments that they did in the Holocaust. Ooh. And it was like just super interesting to read about, kind of like all the psychological aspects that go into that. So yeah. I changed my major to sociology, minored in psychology, and then I started taking a lot of criminal psychology classes, abnormal psychology, criminology, that kind of thing. Yeah. And it was just super interesting, basic white girl, like serial killer stuff. But like, I actually wanted to work in that field. So commissioned in the Army, left for flight school, graduated, came back to Austin, and then I just started applying to jobs. Like I applied to like 100 jobs. And I think my first choice was this job that I have now. Okay. And it was for a criminal defense investigator. And I was kind of hesitant because I think that I've always been very prosecution minded. Obviously I wanted to join the FBI, and it was tough for me to understand how like defense attorneys could defend people that were doing these horrible things. Yeah. And so I was like a little bit of a moral conflict in that aspect. But I went to the interview. It was at my boss's house, and she was wearing like sweatpants, like, oh wow, like, yeah, like hanging out like with her dog. And it was just like, I was like, this lady is awesome. She's actually one of my really good friends now. So I ended up getting that job. It was my number one choice, and nice. I just love it. And it's really interesting to see the other side, like, not to talk shit on police or anything, but like there's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of, they hone in on this one person that they want to be guilty. Yeah. And, it's
not always the person that's right. guilty.
Yeah. And I think everybody kind of deserves to have their case looked at by more than just a police officer, Mm-hmm. So we kind of do that. So whether their attorney thinks their client's innocent, the details don't add up, they want us to talk to somebody, they want to go for a lesser sentence, they'll hire us, and then we'll go out and do our own independent investigation kind of thing. So I ended up just like really loving it. I love it. And like I have experience like kind of digging up dirt on people a little bit, I guess. And then like I was always grounded. My parents were always grounded me, and so I was figuring out ways to like hack into the computer and stuff like that, that kind of thing. Yeah, sorry, mom, dad, if you're listening. But it was just super interesting, and so I became the lead investigator actually back in like June or July when I got back from deployment at the company.
Congrats.
Thank you. And then I also started a new job with them doing mitigation. So it kind of uses a little bit more of my mental health background. Okay. And so it's mostly death penalty mitigation. We have a few non-capital cases, but we get these clients who are on trial for various crimes, most of them capital murder. And we'll go basically back into their lives from the day they were born till tomorrow. We want to know everything. So we talk to them. I go see them every week kind of thing. I get to know everything about their lives, everything about their family. I collect all their records. I go to their schools. I talk to their friends, parents, cousins, aunts, uncles, that kind of thing. And then what I do is I compile these reports to present to a jury in the event that, you got the 2 phases of a capital trial. So you got the guilt, innocence. So in the event that they're convicted, they're guilty, they go to the sentencing phase. So we're trying to keep them alive. We don't want them to be executed. Yeah. So we present this packet to a jury, and in a way to kind of humanize them, so that they're not just seeing this horrible monster that that is being painted of our client. So It's really cool. It's very rewarding because a lot of these people have never had anybody in their lives ever fight for them. And they just been through horrible, horrible things. And so we get to kind of be this beacon of hope, this light. You see them every week and really get to know them. And it's very rewarding. I like it a lot. So I do that. I do mitigation and investigation.
That's pretty awesome.
And then we started doing kind of like, we're trying to get into more civil cases too, but we started doing a little bit of like private work, like we'll tail cheating husbands. So
Yeah.
if anybody needs any investigation out there.
Yeah. If you would think somebody's cheating on you, hit my girl Jenna up.
Yeah, it was so fun. We were like, my boss and I were doing wardrobe changes.
Oh,
like,
damn.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So like, so wardrobe changes. Is that because like, it's okay? So why are you wardrobe changing?
If we're tailing somebody, you know, you don't want them to notice that you're at the same, more than one place, you know.
Okay.
If you're at a restaurant an hour ago and now you followed them to a hotel, you want to be looking a little bit different, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, and we're very unassuming too, so people aren't gonna kind of like see us and be like, oh, what is this girl doing, you know? So which is another benefit to it, but yeah. That kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not walking around with a trench coat and a magnifying glass kind of thing.
No, no, you're just looking normal.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty awesome. So okay, so what are like some of your favorite cases or things that have happened that you could talk about?
I'll talk about some of my closed cases.
Okay.
I think so
I'm
maybe
grab another beer real quick.
I would say like maybe my craziest case was the first case that I ever worked by myself, and it was an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and so so my client he had bought this car off of the Let Go app, which is kind of like it's an app where you can buy and sell like your stuff kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I know that one.
So he bought this car for like $1,000 off of this Let Go app, and he never registered it under his name, didn't have a license supposedly, but he was driving it around for like 3 days, and he's driving and he sees some kids that he knows, and so
Can you say how old this guy?
I think they were like 18, 19.
Okay.
I don't remember how old my client was.
Okay. You said kids. I just wasn't like.
Oh, yeah. I guess.
Are they like 12 or?
No, they're kids to me, 18, okay. 19. So he gives him a ride, and then he's driving some more, and he sees one of his friends. He gets out and says hi to his friend, and the kids steal his car. So he never reports it to the police. A couple days later, he's walking down the street. He sees one of the kids that stole his car. He grabs him by his shirt and he holds a box cutter to his throat. And he takes him up to a random guy on the street and says, "Call the cops. This kid stole my car." And so the cops come and they arrest my client because he's holding a box cutter to this kid's throat.
Yeah.
So my client's in jail. I go see him, and he's like, "I need you to find my car." He's like, "I have no idea where it is." Because it's been about a month. And he's like, "I don't know if they're driving around. It's got my wallet in it, my medications, all this stuff." And all he can tell me is the color of the car. That's it.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I end up getting his property released to me. I go through the app, that I find the ad, all that kind of stuff. I get the license plate number. I look up the VIN. And then it's basically, I'm just going around to tow yards in Austin. And so I spend 2 weeks every day going around to tow yards saying, "Have you seen this car?" kind of thing. And finally I found it.
Oh, shit.
I finally found it. So the woman, she wouldn't let me go into the car, but I was like, "Okay, well, can you tell me how it got here?" She told me the date that it was impounded, and it was a month after my client was arrested, so I knew that someone was driving it around, that kind of thing. And she told me that Austin Police Department had called it in because it was in a crash. So I went and got the crash report, and on the under the name of who was involved in the crash was a 13-year-old girl. So I'm trying to connect to this 13-year-old girl with these kids that my client says stole his car, because I was like, maybe I can get the charges dropped. So I go to the address on the crash report, and the mother answers the door. And I'm like, can I talk to your daughter about this crash she was involved in back on this date? And she's like, that couldn't be. Like, she wasn't there. And I was like, okay, well, is this her? I was showing her the name. She's like, yeah, that's my daughter, but that wasn't her. She was in juvie on that day.
Oh, God.
So I was like, okay, well, can I talk to her? And she says no, and I can't do anything because she's a minor. So I'm thinking, maybe somebody gave a fake name. 13-year-olds don't have IDs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I call the cop that responded to the initial crash, and I was telling him the story and everything. And he's like, no, the mom's lying to you. That's the girl. We actually dropped her off, and the mom called us an hour later to arrest her daughter because she tried to stab and kill her stepdad. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. So I end up doing the full-on background search of this girl. I find this video she posted on her public Facebook of her in the front seat of the car smoking weed at 13 years old. So I just dump everything on the attorney. I'm like, here you go. Here's what I found. And he ended up getting the charges dropped. But that was a really good first case for me.
That's a hell of a first case.
So it's a lot of running around, doing a lot of miscellaneous things. And then I had another one. This one was kind of crazy. So it was a robbery case. And my client had been working at this gas station, and he was working on building a restaurant in the back of this gas station. Some crazy shit.
Nice.
So yeah.
Spirit.
Yeah, so he was getting it up to code, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess the guy wasn't paying him. So
the guy who owned the store?
Yes, wasn't paying my client. So supposedly this robbery happened, and I go see my client. He says he wasn't there. And he's trying to tell me, this guy is notorious for doing this. He does this to get insurance money. He files these claims all the time. You need to look into this, that kind of thing. So I'm trying to talk to him, get his side of the story, get his alibi. And he tells me that he was with his girlfriend on that day. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, his wife called us from North Carolina to hire us. And I'm like, oh, do you mean your wife? And he's like, no, my girlfriend. And I was like, all right. I was like, that...
dog.
It's that your wife is she's paying for my services. Does she know? Is she going to still pay me?
It might be an open relationship type thing. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. So I was like, is she still going to pay me when she finds out? And he's like, maybe don't talk to my girlfriend. And I was like, well, this is your alibi. I'd be malpractice if I didn't. So I'm like, you need to have a conversation with your wife before I go out and do this. So he's telling me that he was with his girlfriend on that day. He never went to the gas station, was never in that area. So I was like, oh, perfect. Give me your Google account login information, and I will go and I'll look at your location history, and I'll show that you were nowhere near the gas station at this time. So I had never done it before. I actually taught myself within I think it took me 8 hours how to extract a bunch of data from his cell phone, and then how to convert it into grid coordinates and plot it in lat long, timestamps, all this stuff. It took me all night.
Damn.
And I was so excited. I was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. This guy's, I'm gonna be able to help him out. And and so the cops were called that morning at 10:07 a.m. and from 9:30 until 10:06 a.m. my client was at the gas station. And then 10:08 he's way the fuck gone. So I was like, okay. So I printed out, and I was like, homeboy, I go back to jail, and I'm like, you want to tell me what really happened? And he's like, oh, yeah, I was there that day. I was like, oh yeah, you don't say.
Right before the cops got
So then it's this story one after the other, I went in I was asking him for money, and so I left. He must have been mad at me, and that's why he called the cops and say I robbed him. I was like, okay, well, that's cool, but it doesn't explain the 7 staples that he had to get in his head, and the 2 black eyes, that kind of thing. So so that one was crazy. I got a lot of stories like that, but then again, I have when I was talking about how sometimes the cops can be a little bit biased, I would say in my domestic violence, family violence type cases, I'll see a lot of the times it's, the woman will be the abuser, but 99% of the time the man's sitting in jail. So I had one.
It doesn't get talked about a whole lot.
No, it doesn't at
all.
all.
When it comes to domestic violence.
No, and so I think it's changing a little bit. Times are changing a little bit.
The internet's helping, I think.
Yeah. And so by the time I get to these guys, I had this one he was fighting with his girlfriend. They were at a hotel. She was belligerently drunk, like throwing shit everywhere, like screaming, hitting him. And he wasn't doing anything. And she fell and hit her head and, you know, bumped her eye and then continued to go back and was beating him. Yeah. And so the people in the hotel room next door heard it, called the cops. They come and they arrest the man because she had a mark on her eye from falling.
Yeah.
And she was beating the shit out of him. So the girl is begging, like, please, it wasn't his fault. Please let him out. I'm sorry, like, all this stuff. And the cops don't listen to her.
They're probably thinking, like, battered wife syndrome or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, you know, oh, we got to protect her from this big scary man kind of thing. So by the time I got to my client, he had been in jail for 6 months, lost his job, lost all this money, lost his home. And, you know, he's just miserable. Yeah. And I see that a lot. I had another one where he was in jail for 9 months by the time I got to him. And there was this woman who knew where the cops would patrol, and she would go roll around in the middle of the street until they came and say, he hit me. And she was so notorious for doing it that they called it the Nicole roll. Her name was Nicole.
Oh, like my God.
Yeah. And she would just be getting these guys on these domestic violence charges.
Wait, so the cops would call it the Nicole roll?
No. That all her victims.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I see that a lot too. And now as the lead investigator, I get a little bit more of the more serious cases. Like I'm dealing with a lot more murder, sexual assault kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I still do see it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's really it's unfortunate that it doesn't get talked about a whole lot, and like there's kind of this stigma about it, like, oh, girls beating you up, like, poor guy. And it's like, well, especially if you're a guy who's been raised correctly to like never strike a woman, especially in anger or anything like that, then like, yeah, like, what can you possibly do? And it's kind of the same thing, you know, you have the battered wife syndrome where, you know, they keep coming back because they love this guy even though he keeps hurting them. It's the same type thing for the guy. Like, this is somebody I love. Mm-hmm. They're probably, like, not able to physically harm me to the level that, like, a man can harm a woman, but still, like, physically assaulting me all the time.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you do report it, like, nobody really gives a shit, at least a lot of the time.
Yeah, and you're going to get shit for it. It's really sad. I see it a lot, and I had no idea how rampant it was either, but it's very sad.
Yeah, but like you said, I think it is starting to change. I think, like, I've seen, at least on social media and stuff, like, there's still a lot of stigma about it, but there's more and more times I'm seeing, like, people like, hey, like, this is a real thing. Like, you know, there's the whole, like, men's rights thing where it's, like, a bunch of idiots talk about shit, but then there's, like, a legitimate side of, like, hey, there are these, you know. A bunch of idiots. I know, like, like, being a male, and especially like a straight white male is like the worst thing you can be right now. But there are still like problems for males as well that like they have to deal with. And I'm starting to see more and more where people are like at least recognizing that, like, hey, you know, the majority of people are just trying to like find happiness and get by in life. They're not like super rich or like, you know, exploiting other people. And so I think that's starting to change at least a little bit.
Yeah. And then like a lot of the times I think what they're aiming for is to get the guy to hit them back so then they can be the victim kind of thing. It's awful. Yeah,
it is. I mean, it's, you know, toxic relationships are awful. But yeah, for the most part, you've just never really heard about these. Mm-hmm. And like with the internet, you're starting to hear more and more. And then obviously, like you were saying, you're in the position where you're seeing it a lot more. Of like how this is more common than people would think, I believe.
Yeah, it's very true. So yeah, I have a lot more stories. It's just all kind of crazy shit. Yeah. But it's fun. Every day's different. There's never a dull day. I've had multiple death threats. Like shit. People
do you carry?
Throwing me. Yeah, sometimes I do. So I try to be aware of where I'm going, but I have sometimes not had my gun when I've wanted to. Like I've been like held hostage once kind of thing, and like people, you know, telling me to get the fuck out of their house, out of their apartment, off their lawn, that kind of thing. But I did have this one. It was a manslaughter case, and it took place in North Austin, and everybody involved was in the Crips. So I made sure to go during.
We had them here.
I know, me neither, but we do. Yeah.
They don't do a whole lot, and I guess because it's.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't either. But so I carried on that one. I went.
Do we have Bloods too?
Yeah.
I guess. Shit. All
Probably
right.
on like Riverside or some shit. I don't know.
Out on the east side somewhere?
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't plan
Runberg
on
Lane
finding
up
out
there?
yet. Probably. Airport.
That's more meth anyway.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So, is that where you get your meth too?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Runberg.
cool.
Yeah, that Red Roof Inn. It's good. It's good meth.
Yeah. So that one I brought my my Glock to because I was like, I don't know who I'm going to be talking to, who I'm going to be running into, and
do you conceal or is it open?
Concealed, yeah.
Okay.
So, and that apartment complex specifically, the attorney had told me, he's like, please be careful. Like, I have multiple other murder cases, manslaughter type cases, drug cases that have happened in this exact complex. He's like, please be careful. And my boss always gets mad at me because I like to go alone. I refuse to accept help. So I went there alone.
Might not be a bad idea to accept help every now and then.
No, I'm good. I'll be fine. So I went there and I was talking to people, talked around, got some good information, and we were thinking that it might have been this one guy, and because we didn't think our client had anything to do with it. So I think like a couple days later, I was at the gym, my apartment gym. There's only one channel on the TVs there, and so I was forced to watch the news. It was running and
local news. I'm assuming.
Yes, and
Okay.
I see this guy that we were thinking committed this crime, who lived at that apartment complex that I was just at, was shot and killed. He was murdered. And so, like, a couple days later, and I was like, holy shit, at that same place that I was at. So it's like, oh, good. It's a good thing that I went, I guess, earlier than that. So I'm just, I carry sometimes. I try to, like, be a little bit aware of what kind of case I'm working on. I probably should more often, though.
Yeah, at least in your car.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of guns and 2A stuff, especially for women. Like as we were kind of talking, we were talking about domestic violence, like, and you were saying you're getting more into sexual assault type cases. Like, I understand, like, not every person is going to be comfortable around guns or comfortable carrying a gun, but like, it's really hard to sexually assault somebody that can blow your face off.
Yeah.
Like it's the great equalizer in any situation. And like that's what I try to tell people. It's like, one, like I believe in the Second Amendment and like shall not be infringed. I take that to heart. So like, yeah, if the government can have it, I fucking want to be able to own it myself, or at least have the opportunity. I'm probably not going to be in the position to buy a tank or like a recreational nuke if we ever get there, but
maybe someday
it would be cool. Yeah, who knows? I could
dream big.
Yeah, exactly. But then also it's like a protection thing. Like, like my girlfriend's not a huge fan of like guns, but I'm like, look, there's never going to be a time where I would want to not be able to defend you or children that we plan on having. And like, there's some situations where it's just like, yeah, there's no amount of like physical preparedness you could have. You could be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and if there's 7 dudes that have knives or guns, like, yeah, there's not a whole lot you could do. But as soon as you have one too, it totally changes the playing field.
Yeah, it's a deterrence factor as well, I think.
Huge deterrent. Like, it's not even that you have to ever use it. Just having it and knowing that you have it. Like, I would never want to be in a situation, and that's why it sucks that it's so limited. It's even as limited as it is now. Like, what you're saying is that I don't have the right to defend myself wherever I go. And this is what was interesting too. When I went back to UT and I was studying government, it's the same thing for me. Like when you took sociology, like I was like, holy shit, this is what I've been waiting for.
School
like I'm actually reading for classes. Like, and so I was in what was it? It was Classical Quest for Justice class, and it was interesting because it was about the time when the law was going through to where you could conceal carry on campus, and like the professor kind of brought it up just as like a generic, like, what are people thinking? Just kind of wanted, and I was expecting. I'm at UT. It's a liberal campus. I'm probably going to be one of the only people that's supportive of it. But it was like surprising amount of support for it because a lot of people were saying, look, I don't know if I ever would do it, but essentially if you don't agree with, if you're saying that shouldn't be allowed, you're saying that you don't trust your students.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing too. Like, and goes into that same thing. Like, people on the left will say that you can't ban abortions because they're just going to still happen, which they do.
Yes.
And then people on the right say, well, you can ban guns, but criminals are still going to get them. And they're like, yeah.
Same thing with war on drugs, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's what's up. I have to re-record. I just did an episode about that, but it got screwed up with the audio. But it was the same thing where I'm like, I mean, we saw what happened with Prohibition, and I think I don't think there's a single soul alive today that looks back on the Prohibition era and says that was a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's pretty much
100%, yeah.
I don't know that there's anybody who would think that it was a good idea. So it's like, why are we still trying to do this war on drugs when we've lost it? And all we've done is empower the cartels. But yeah, we could
amen, sister. I'm feeling on that.
For sure. Yeah, so I don't know.
So I'm not sure if I'm still going to do the whole FBI thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Okay.
Oh, yeah, because I've found such a passion, I think, for criminal defense, and there's such a need for it, too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I'm in grad school now, so I don't know if I told you that. Yeah, so I'll finish with my master's in June, so I'm almost done.
Where are you? Is it at UT?
No, Grand Canyon, so it's online.
Okay, yeah.
Super easy. It's awesome. Forensic psychology. I actually applied for the PhD program at UT, but I don't plan on getting in. So, but that would
big.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see. I guess
that'd be awesome.
Even if I did get in, like, the thought of another 5 or 6 years of school,
yeah, and that dissertation, fuck.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm happy with where I'm at right now, but I cannot fucking wait to be done with school. I'm so over it.
Dude, I was so like, even now, like, I have like classes or tests that I'm studying for and taking for work to like get certification, and even that, it's like, I don't mind it because it's all like multiple choice tests. So like, that's what I fucking thrive at. Like, okay, you have 2 hours to take it. Cool. It's going to take me 30 minutes because it's fucking multiple choice.
Yeah.
And like, I just go through it super fast. And even that, it's like, it's still not as bad because I'm like, this means promotion and like more pay and like more responsibility at work and like getting closer to goals that I want to get to. Whereas like, you're sitting in college and you're just like, dude, I'm fucking paying to be here.
Yeah.
Or at least the Navy's paying for me to be here.
For a piece of paper,
and
yeah.
Yeah, for a piece of paper that like doesn't even mean shit anymore. 90, I mean, not 90, but a huge percentage of people don't work in anything relating to the major that they get.
Yeah.
And like, all it's done is like start a bunch of us off with like tens of thousands of dollars in debt.
Yeah.
And it's wild.
Yeah, that's like, everyone was giving me shit because I bartended in the 10 months between graduating college and going to flight school, and everyone's like,
"Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, good times, 36th Street."
You hooked it up.
I did hook it up. Yeah, and I was also working in a law firm during that time. It was the worst job of my life, and everyone's giving me shit like, "Oh yeah, you studied psychology, sociology, now you're a fucking bartender." And I'm like, well, actually, I got all this stuff going on.
Going to flight school, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, and then I'd get to be a flight attendant. Like, what? Excuse me.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I get that a lot too.
Yeah. You're way too attractive to be a flight attendant anyway. They're like, that's not an attractive profession anymore.
I thought it was. It's not.
No,
it's
not anymore.
Pilots
Don't you watch How I Met Your Mother?
No.
Oh, there's this whole the Barney character. He's like the womanizer, and so he has this whole bit of this shtick of like how the flight attendant, the stewardess, used to be like where all the hot women went.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then that changed. Now it's all old women and men that are working it. He's like, and all the hot chicks went to pharmaceutical sales reps.
Or to be pilots.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It is. I don't know. It's just something I've noticed. Where I'm like, it's kind of true. Like,
yeah.
Not to knock on anybody. Like, flight attendants are awesome, but it's just like, it is. There's a lot more males than probably, which is, equal opportunity. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's just, I just always think about that with that How I Met Your Mother. And then I think he was saying that pharmaceutical sales reps were losing their hotness too, and that all the hot chicks were moving to some other profession, but I can't remember which one it was at this point.
I'll have to watch it. I haven't seen it.
Man, that's a funny show. It's weird. It's kind of like in the realm of like Friends or like Seinfeld or like It's Always Sunny, where almost none of the characters are like good people, you know.
That's why I love It's Always Sunny.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, It's Always Sunny just took it and ran with it, which was amazing. But yeah, I always say there's this one character, Marshall. He's the only good character in the entire show. Like, he's the only good person, at least. Like, they're all good characters for the most part, but like, he's the only good person. Everybody else is pretty much a piece of shit.
I just watched The Office on repeat, pretty much.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I got my girlfriend into it. She wasn't a bit like, she had never really watched it before we started dating, and so like we started watching it, and she's fallen in love with it. And like when we got through the first time and got to the last episode, and like when it ended, and she's like bawling her eyes out, she's like, "Why didn't you warn me?" How I was like, yeah, I kind of forgot how much of it, because I had only watched the finale once before we watched it again, because like I had started watching it from like the first time it premiered on TV. I saw it and I was like, dude, this show looks amazing.
Every Thursday, right? On NBC. Yeah, I remember that.
And I loved it. And my mom was like, I don't get this. Like, this is just awkward and cringy. I was like, yeah, that's why it's so funny.
It's genius.
And then she got into it too. But so I'd watched it religiously. And then when Steve Carell left, I watched for a little bit because like Will Ferrell and everybody. And then I just kind of fell off. I was like, I don't really like it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of rough. But then the ending is so worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth getting. And as I've gone back, they're not as bad as I remember them being in those 2 seasons or so.
I cry every time though.
It's a really good, but very emotional ending. Mm-hmm. I love that one. That one and Parks and Rec, I think, have 2 of the better endings of that kind of show like style.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah. So, want to get into this a little bit too while I got you. How are you feeling about your Packers and Matt LaFleur? Where y'all are going? How much time you think Rodgers has left?
Oh my God, what is he?
Do you want some more wine, by the way? You want me to pour you some?
Is this the time when I need more wine?
I don't know. I was just, you're empty, so I could pour some for you.
Maybe I'll just drink straight from the bottle.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I love Matt LaFleur, and I think it's funny because all Cowboys fans are like, oh, we got McCarthy. I was like, yeah, you can have him.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead. And
He worked out a job for a year for a reason.
I mean, I loved McCarthy too. No knock against him, but like, I love where we were at the end of the season. First season with Matt LaFleur was awesome, and
especially like, I mean, he had like no receivers really aside from Adams.
Yeah.
And like, so
yeah, and even then he was out for like 4 or 5 games. So love Aaron Jones, that kind of thing.
He's a baller.
Yeah, he
tore us up that Sunday night game.
Fuck yeah.
But Mahomes wasn't there, so y'all lucked out.
That's what I was saying. I was like, the Packers beat the Chiefs, so we're like technically like the Super Bowl champions.
Oh, is that how it goes?
I think that's how it works. Yeah.
I was really wanting. It would have been so awesome for like the 100th year of the NFL to have a rematch of Super Bowl I. There's 50 years since the Chiefs had been, like, all these different things were like lining up. So I was like, these got to be the Packers. Like, we have to play the Packers. That would be so like full fucking circle for the NFL to come around.
But I'm surprised they even made it that far, if I'm going to be honest with you, because they had a couple of rough wins.
Well, and the thing is like, y'all were winning, but they were never really like dominant.
Yeah, they were ugly wins. Yeah,
like y'all would get up and then just disappear. And then I'm like, hey, y'all going to try to score any time in the second half at all?
Their defense is looking great though. I don't know how much time Aaron Rodgers has left. I think he's like 35, 36.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
I don't know. I think they need to start looking at drafting another rookie. But I don't want to talk too soon, because I just love him so much. But if I'm going to be honest with you, like, he was kind of the worst player on their offense this year. He was
really,
yeah. I mean,
I guess I only really watched the one game when we played, and he made that fucking throw in the corner of the end zone. And I'm like, dude, there's 2 people in the NFL that can make that throw right now, and that's Rodgers and Mahomes. Yeah. And so I'm real happy we have the other one, and he's really young right now. But like, it was the same thing. It was just back throw, fucking weird ass arm angle. And he throws it to the only spot where his receiver can catch it, and nobody else could. And that was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a rough season, but I'm happy they made it as far as they did. It's just a
NFC
tough way to go out.
Like, for a rough season for it to end there. That's
I
pretty
know.
good.
And I always say whenever I go to Star Bar, which is the Packers bar in Austin, to watch it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's so much fun, but whenever I go, they lose. So the playoff game, I was like, I can't go. I'm not going to go. They're going to lose. So my roommate was like, well, let's go. She's like, everyone's going to be there. It's going to be fun. So we went for the first half, and they scored 0 points the first half.
Yeah.
And so
left.
I left at halftime, yeah. And so they started coming back. So I was like, you know what? It's my fucking fault for going to Star Bar. But
Dude, that was this season with my girlfriend. Whenever we were undefeated whenever she watched with me, because she couldn't give less of a shit about football.
Yeah.
Like, she pays attention because she likes for me to be happy, so she roots for my teams.
Oh, that's good.
But she does not. Like, she's never cared. She can't really, like, I still don't think, like, I've tried to explain to her why, like, hey, I was fucking crying when we won the Super Bowl and when we got to the Super Bowl. She's like, you better cry at our wedding. I'm like, well, I mean, I'm sure I probably will, but, like, you also didn't break my heart for 25 fucking years. And, like, every season watching you find a new way to lose a playoff game if we got there, which wasn't even that often.
Oh, boy, you better fucking cry. I swear to God, pour some hot sauce in your eyes, whatever you need to do.
I know. I'm sure I will.
Yeah, you better cry when she...
I'm sure it'll be emotional. But, like, yeah, this is the first time I've ever experienced happy tears. Like, I didn't know what that... Like, I would hear that, and I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
But no, so, like, it was crazy. The Houston game... She's out running errands, and I'm fucking... I don't know if you can see, there's a little dent in the trash can there because I threw my hat, and, like, the bill just hit it at the perfect angle. Like, I was losing my mind. And she gets home, and she starts making wings. We got air fryer, which is badass. And so she starts making wings. And I was just like, look, I'm sorry, I'm not in a good mood right now. Things are not going well. And then, like, as soon as she gets home and starts making wings, the comeback starts. And then we go on a 51-7 run.
Magic.
And win that game. And then the next weekend for the AFC Championship, like, she normally has Sundays off, but, like, this crazy thing happened at her work where she had to go in. And so she's, like, a yoga teacher. She had to cover for one of the teachers. And so she got to the game late. And so she walks in to my friend's house where we're watching it. And, like, the next play, Damian Williams scores the rushing touchdown, and then, like, 5 minutes later, Mahomes throws that deep pass to Sammy Watkins, and that, like, seals the game. And so I was like, look, I don't care if your resort you work at is fucking burning to the ground on the Super Bowl. You're watching the entire game with us.
Oh my God.
And so,
you better wife that girl up, dude.
oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a matter of time. This was like us moving in together. It was like, if that went well, which it obviously has 2 years later, that was all I needed to know.
Yeah.
I'd never lived with a significant other before, so I was like, oh.
You need to. Yeah, I haven't either, and that's one thing I've learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. You were young, though, too.
I know. I was so stupid.
Yeah. When I was fucking 18, I was convinced I was going to marry the girl I was dating, too, at that time. Like, you're young, dumb, and full of cum, and you just think you got it all figured out.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but it was a wild ride. It was a fun ass season.
Yeah, I'm so happy they beat the 49ers.
Me too. And the way it happened too. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, dude, that was like almost got in a fight kind of at the bar. Like, so it was Mahomes throws the second pick, and then we get the ball back without them scoring, and we're driving down the field again. And then it's 3rd and 15, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, dude, I've watched this fucking story so many goddamn times as a Chiefs fan. Like, I thought this kid and this team would be the one to, like, break this story, but maybe it's just going to take another year. Like, we get to the AFC Championship last year and lose. Maybe now it's like we get to the Super Bowl and lose, and then we have to go back maybe again. And some guys, like, start yelling, like, he's mad that people aren't cheering as loud. And I'm like, dude. And he starts yelling at me, and I go, he's like, you want him to come back in this game? We gotta get loud. I go, I'm watching the fucking game, dude. And I start yelling at him, and the bartenders, they kind of know me because I've been for a few Chiefs games, so they start yelling at him too and telling him to shut up. And then, like, 10 seconds later, he throws that deep pass to Tyreek, and then like the floodgates open, and then like he and I high-fived, and it was fine. But I was like, and then I come to find out later, I was talking to him. He's like, yeah, I was just rooting for you. He's like, I'm a Jets fan. I was just rooting for you. I was like, so that's why you don't even fucking understand what it's like to be a Chiefs fan and watch that. So that's why,
It's not a Super Bowl if there's not a few fights, though. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's one 49ers fan there because, of course, there was a 49ers fan.
That was the same thing with Star Bar. It's like you really have nowhere else in the entire city of Austin to go watch this game other than a fucking Packers bar.
Well, see, that's the thing, too, is it's like even if you're unaware, the second you walk in, you should be like, okay, not the right place to watch. I'm going to find a different bar in Austin. There's like 5,000 of them. Like,
yeah. You would think, but... No, apparently not.
Wait, so was there Niners fans there at that point?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, quite a few. It's like, you just leave, please.
All those damn Californians.
That's it. That's what it is. Yeah.
Can't really talk on one of them.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Although I like to say I've spent my entire adult life here. So I moved out here when I was 18.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, I was the same way. I'd never been to Texas before.
Yeah.
My first visit out was after I'd already accepted the scholarship.
Yeah.
And, So cool.
Yeah, it's really nice, I guess, being able to be on this show because, like, I think... So, when I was in flight school, it was back in 2016, 2017, and you would think that kind of, like, the whole era of sexism was over... But it was fucking unbelievable. The shit that we had
flight school?
Yes, the shit that we had to deal with there. And a lot of it was mostly because we were being taught how to fly. So we started off flying TH-67s, which is like little Bell 206s. Like, two pods in the front. It's like flying a go-kart. It's like super rickety and like old and shit. And so everybody that was teaching us how to fly was from Vietnam era, like old ass white dudes.
Yeah, okay.
And so it was the thing, like, you know, women don't belong here, women can't fly, women can't drive, you shouldn't be in the military kind of thing. It was outrageous. And you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, what year are we in, you know?
When you figure, because for decades, that's what it was for them. And so, like, those old bastards, they're not going to fucking change.
No. And so it was unbelievable. And I had, like, one of my instructor pilots, when I was flying OH-58s, which is, like, the Kiowa, the old-ass Kiowa that they got rid of, he asked me what kind of underwear I was wearing. Yeah, like, shit like that is in a completely professional Army school environment. Like, and, you know, they're making comments about how women couldn't fly and shit, like, in front of the entire class.
Oh, God.
And it was me and one other girl that was there. So it's like, it still happens. And actually, one of my mentors, she was the captain at the time, and I would call her whenever I'd get upset. And there was one time it got so bad, she literally dragged me into the commander's office, sat me down, and she was like, you need to tell her, there's a female commander, like, everything you've told me. So I went and I told her, like, all these incidences that happened, and it launched, like, this full-on investigation. And I came forward, and there was about 50 other girls that then came forward about shit that was happening to them. And eventually, they did this whole investigation. They called me like a year later after I had already graduated and was gone. And one of the instructors in particular, he got fired and he was appealing the conviction. So they were having every female who talked about him, came forward because of him, call in and testify against him. And so they were supposed to call me at 9 a.m. and they didn't call me till 2 p.m. because so many girls had called in to testify against this guy. And, like, it's just like, and I still get emails to this day of girls from flight school saying, hey, I heard about you. I heard what you went through. Like, can you help me? I'm dealing with the same thing. So it's really unfortunate that it's still going on, but hopefully it's like, it's phasing out. But, like, and people joke about it. Like, they think it's funny, like, making comments about females, whatever the fuck you want to joke about. But it's like, these are young officers who are going out into the field after this, going to their units all over the world, and they're going to think that this kind of thing is okay. Like, to joke about, you know, women this way and whatever they want to joke about. Just in a completely professional environment, or at least it's supposed to be. So, it's cool to like, I guess, kind of be sort of a mentor in a way,
that's
kind of
awesome.
thing. And you see like all these kind of girls online too who are like sexualizing the uniform has been a big topic lately. Like posting pictures of them, like, you know, with an American flag barely covering their areolas, you know, while at the same time they're like military officers, that kind of thing. You know, you see it all the time. I know, and it's like common. It's like the thing to do now. So, kind of like speaking.
I bet the military's losing. They're like, what the fuck do we do with these kids and their internet?
But then at the same time, it's like you can't really do anything because it's their page, and I'm all for like it's your page.
Are they like keeping their faces out of it?
No.
Oh, cool.
It's like post whatever the fuck you want.
I mean,
But you have to also understand at the same time that, like, you know, your soldiers are going to look at that and they're going to be confused. And they'd be like, oh, God, this is my, you know, lieutenant. Like, how am I supposed to look at her? She's, you know, I can see the outline of her whatever on this picture. Like, it's just confusing. So I think it's, like, it's cool for me to kind of be a spokesperson in the way that, like, yeah, it sucks. People are going to look at you like you're a fucking idiot. Like, I'm a natural blonde, and I dye my hair so that people will take me more seriously. Doesn't exactly work, but, like, people...
The darker hair looks fantastic,
Thank you. So people, you know, when they see me, you know, they're getting ready to fly with me, whatever it is, they automatically assume I'm going to be dumb, that I'm not going to know what I'm doing, you know, that kind of thing. And then also it's like, but at the same time, you know, afterwards they'll... pleasantly surprised, like, oh wow, you can actually, you know, fly the shit out of this thing, you actually know your stuff. So it's like, I think that's extremely important to remember, is that like you don't have to, you know, young girls are seeing this, they're making jokes about like guys are making jokes about a woman's body, that kind of thing, and they're saying, oh well, that's, you know, how they get ahead. But really what it has to come down to is you know, putting your head down, working your ass off, and proving yourself, I think, in the professional field kind of thing, versus getting ahead on your looks.
Yeah, and part of, like, I think, I mean, it's interesting, too, to hear that, because, like, I'll admit there's, like, a little bit of bias of myself entering in, like, the ROTC and just being, like, you know, I'd come from sports. Like, I'd always been on just teams with all guys. Like, I was used to do physical stuff with all guys. And so it was just like, not like a looking down, but just like kind of like, oh, okay, there's girls here. And then you meet somebody like you, or, you know, I never had the chance to go through ROTC with you, but like Tip Face, you're just like, all right, Jesus Christ, like, this chick is so moto, and she's going to be able to fucking outdo damn near everybody in our fucking platoon. And so it is just like this thing where it's there's kind of like there's the element of like you feel comfortable around guys and being able to like shoot the shit in ways that you wouldn't in front of a female and you shouldn't in front of a female.
Yeah.
And like that was one of the draws of the submarine. Like the biggest draw was like I could get a job in the nuclear world in the private sector, and like submarines were also fucking cool. Like, I fucking love my time on the sub. But it was also like there was the all male crew is like I can be less concerned about things that escape my mouth and who might be around when such thing escapes my mouth. But like all it takes is meeting somebody like you or like Marissa or Tara too. Tara was the same way, where it's just like, yeah, I mean, y'all are badass and you fully deserve to be here as well. And so it's just, I think it's just, again, one of those things where, especially in the military, like, it takes a long time for things to kind of change, and for old bad ideas to die out. And so part of it too is like a lot of those people are in positions of like power and influence, and so it's just kind of almost unfortunately a waiting game, I feel like, of just those people to like not be in those positions anymore.
I hope so. Yeah. But then again, like, we can be just as vulgar as y'all, kind of thing. Oh, like, yeah.
Yeah, oh my God.
I know.
Dude, like, some of the shit that comes out of her mouth.
My friends are like worse than dudes. I feel like the way that we talk. But
yeah, and that was the thing too. It's like I was always comfortable around Tip Face being able to say whatever I want. Like, I could say anything in front of her that I would say in front of anybody else. There was definitely females within the platoon that I could not, or should not, maybe.
I get you.
And it's just part of it is just being an adult and recognizing that difference.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. That occasionally you have to watch what you say.
Yeah.
It is a little more comfortable to not have to worry about that. But like, hey, that's part of being an adult. Like, I can talk way differently with my friends, drinking some beers and watching football than I am at work. Although my work's pretty lax, so I can get away with a lot there too. But like,
you can drink on the job sometimes.
A little bit, yeah. We have beer 30 on Fridays.
Oh,
so,
fuck yeah!
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What's the story behind the Tit Face nickname? Can you tell it or no?
Yeah, for sure. So before she went to OCS, her tits were huge. They were like D's or double D's. They were massive. And so, like, part of it was that, and then part of it was, like, it was born out of, I don't know, like, I was in Santa Barbara. Okay, so I had this friend, Tabs, Andrew, and so his last name is Tabarachi, so we would call him Tabs for short. And he wasn't, like, doing tabs or anything like that. Yeah. Just wanted to clear that up just in case I don't want people thinking he's a druggie. And so we went to the national championship when we played Alabama. We scalp our way into the game, and then Colt goes down on the fifth play, and we lose. And so then we go to Santa Barbara that week, and then his brother went to school there, and it's a massive party school. And so I was like, dude, I just want to black out for 3 days and not remember that game. And we did our damnedest. Like, we were doing beer bongs. He had like a beer bong that you could fit 3 beers in. And then we were topping it with vodka at the
yeah.
Oh,
classic.
it was awful.
Yeah.
So bad. So many
it's
bad
like
ideas.
Normal Tuesday for me. Yeah.
And so in Santa Barbara, it's pretty much, there's not really like a bar scene or anything. It's all like house party. And there's this neighborhood. There's this specific street called Del Playa, but there's parties all throughout this neighborhood that's over there right by the campus. And so we leave his brother's house and go to another party. And I'm talking to some people, and then I just hear Tabs talking to some dude that apparently this dude had beef with Vince, Tabs' brother, and so I just hear Tabs go, "Fuck you, tit face! When's the last time you even got a blowjob?" And I was like, "What?" And I like turned around, and the dude like kind of shirked off and left the party. I was like, dude, what is that about? He's like, I don't know. He's got beef with Vince, so I just felt like talking shit.
I'm going to use that insult next time.
Yeah. And so then I was like, tit face, that's funny. And then I can't even remember. Marissa did something that I was just like, God damn it, tit face. And then like it just stuck.
It's a beautiful story.
It is. I still call her it for the most part. Like even my girlfriend Kate knows who I'm talking about when I say tit face. It's just a loving little term of endearment. But yeah, she's awesome. Her daughter's fucking cool as shit. Yeah. Jade's awesome. She's such a cute little thing, and I'm super proud of her. I know she's gonna be career. She's always wanted to be career, and so I'm super super stoked for her and everything that she's doing.
Yeah, she's always been one of my biggest idols.
She's one of mine too. Yeah.
She's awesome.
She's great. Yeah, I fucking. It sucks. That's the only downside about her being career is like, I know it's gonna be the first time we would be able to live in the same place again would be like 40, 42 or whatever. If she doesn't get to like general and stay in longer.
I actually ran into her in Kuwait. I don't know if I told you that.
Yeah. She told me that too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. On my way home from deployment, we were at the gym. I just ran into her at the gym. I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah.
Little gym rats.
Yeah. It was small world. Yeah, I was only in Kuwait for a week too. So.
Yeah, that's where she is right now.
Sucks there. Yeah,
it was crazy. She was originally supposed to miss Tar's wedding back in October. Tar got married out here. And her deployment got pushed back a week. And so she was able to come
that's awesome.
and be in Tar's wedding. And so that was a lot of fun. It was like, of course, like it was like college days all over again. Because like the night before the wedding, we're all partying. They were actually staying at Airbnb pretty close to here, like maybe 6 blocks away. And so I was like, oh, that's awesome. And so went and partied, and then all the guys went out and the girls went out like separately. And then I can't remember because she wasn't there originally, and she shows up at one point with the girls. Excuse me. And I get home, and we were texting, and she was like, oh my god, I don't even have anywhere to sleep. I was like, dude, you can come crash here, like I'm not that far away. She's like, yeah, please. I was like, yeah, here's my address to get a Lyft or Uber or whatever. She's like, I don't even know how, I was like, god damn it, all right, I'll fucking order you one. And so like I ordered her one, and I was like, you can take the bed, I'll sleep on the couch, it's fine. And she was like, no. She's like, you sleep. She's like, I'll sleep on the bed or the couch. She's like, it's fine. And so and then yeah, because Kate was out of town doing like some yoga retreat thing, and then she got back in town the next day for the wedding. So yeah, it was just classic. Like it felt like being in college again, where it's just like tip face crashing over at the place after partying.
Those were the days, man.
Yeah, those days were wild. You missed out a little bit on like the true party days.
Yeah,
of the UTROTC.
I was just a little youngin'.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, she's great and super inspirational. And Tara is too. Tara's fucking... I'm not sure if she's going to stay and do like the career thing, but she was like an aide to an admiral for a while.
Oh,
so
okay.
she was like traveling all over, looking doing great. And then she had a kid who's cute as shit too. And her husband is... he was a lineman at the academy. He played line on the football team.
I need to get on the baby train, it sounds like.
Right? And his dad played in the NFL, played for the Chiefs for a while. Like, I meet him at the party, and then we're, like, talking, and he mentions... He might have been too young to remember this. There was an incident with the Minnesota Vikings and a boat party in Miami. This was, like, right before... the internet like really broke, and it was like kind of the first one of these stories that crossed over into the mainstream news, and it was like a bunch of hookers and strippers on this boat party in Miami, and it was all a bunch of the Minnesota Vikings on this.
Yeah, I was like, there.
Yeah, for sure. And so he talks about it, and he's like, yeah, that almost cost me my marriage. And I was like, wait, you were on that boat? He's like, yeah, I was on the Vikings at the time. I go, wait, what? And then he's like, yeah, I bounced around. He's like, I played for the Chiefs for a while. I was like, dude, the Chiefs were my favorite team. And he's like, yeah, of course they are now. I was like, no.
Yeah, right.
I've been watching since Elvis Gerbach was the fucking quarterback. He's like, that was my quarterback when I played. He's like, he was a fucking douchebag. I was like, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He seems like a douchebag. And so I yelled at Tara. I was like, why did you not tell me that Evan's dad fucking played in the NFL, played for the Chiefs?
It's like, oh, it's casual, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a fun wedding. It was like all Harry Potter themed.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Tara loves her Harry Potter.
Yeah, I assume so.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You doing all right?
Mm-hmm.
We're about like an hour 20. You want to keep going for a little bit? You want to call it? What are you thinking?
I don't know. What else do you want to talk about?
We can talk about anything. Anything in the world.
I can't really think of anything else.
Okay.
Oh, that's about as interesting as I am.
You're fucking interesting as hell.
Thank you.
We got an hour and 20 minutes. Like, we didn't even veer off into, like, a lot of times these conversations will just kind of veer off into God knows what, and which is fun too. But, like, we talked for an hour, 20 minutes almost entirely about all the cool shit that you do.
Yeah. I mean, awesome. I don't really think it's that cool, but then, like, I kind of forget that, like, pretty much everyone in my life is, like, a huge badass, especially the women, like, my sister's a PA. My roommate's a software engineer. You know,
nice.
Kristen. I don't know if you remember Kristen. She's my best friend from college. She's an engineer in the Army. Dylan's an attorney.
Yeah, I think I remember Kristen.
Yeah.
She's like a brunette.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My best friend in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Where's she stationed at?
So she's at the captain's career course right now at Leavenworth.
Okay.
But she was in Hawaii, and now guess where the fuck she's going next? Italy. Like, dude, I know.
That was like, dude, fucking strange. Okay, so Tip Face has been in fucking Camp Lejeune most of her career. And then now she's in goddamn Kuwait, and she went to Iraq when she saw you. And then Tara's been mostly Norfolk, but then has gotten to travel with the Admiral. But fucking Strain was Naples, and then parlayed Naples into fucking Tokyo.
Oh my
I'm
god,
like, dude,
what a rough life!
You pull this off. We're going in October to go see him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're super stoked. Tokyo's gonna. We were planning to go to Naples to visit him, and then he was like, "Oh, by the way, going to Tokyo." It's like, cool, we'll just visit you there then.
Wow, the life of a Navy officer.
Yeah, right.
Jesus.
Although, I mean, I feel like that's probably rare too, because like a lot of the Navy officers I know, they're like, yeah, I'm in fucking Norfolk, and then I'm in Rhode Island, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So I guess he just I know he worked his ass off to get the Naples one, and then I think he actually like took it was like a downgrade in position to go to Japan.
What does he do?
He's data analytics.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, and so he's gonna be looking to get out too, and he misses Texas a lot, and I
don't blame him. Yeah,
I miss him so much. So like him and his wife came out and visited, like last September maybe, and yeah, it was just crazy. It was so good seeing him because he was the first person I met in Texas, and like we shared a dorm together.
Back when you did like the intro to ROTC when they just like hazed the shit out of you.
Well, but like we met the day before moving into our dorms.
Oh, okay.
And like he was so hungover, but like he just lived in College Station, so he just drove the hour and a half here on that day, and then like he had like not a full grown beard, but he had like facial hair, and his hair was long as shit. And like I was already clean cut because I was like, I'm coming to do RTC. I was like, you're not gonna like cut or anything? He's like, no. He's like, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
And then, so of course he gets singled out and screamed at for looking like a piece of shit. And then yeah, we still liked each other after living in a dorm together, which says a lot.
That's hard to do.
Yeah. And so then he's one of my best friends in the world, and we lived together the entire time here in Austin until he left for San Diego.
Yeah.
Like we were always roommates, and so there was one time we were like texting, just drunk, like about how we miss each other, and he was like, "Dude, I would never tell Betsy this, but he's like, you're the best roommate I've ever had in my life."
Wait, don't you have matching ass tattoos?
No, he's the only one with the ass tattoo.
Oh, you
How did you hear that?
I don't know. I thought you had matching ones.
No, I would have probably if you. Basically, what happened? God, dude, that story.
What is it like? Made in the USA, right?
It's America. Fuck yeah.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah. So
okay.
So he it's the night before 9/11, and you know like the fucking PTs on 9/11 are a fucking thrash show. Like,
yeah.
We're gonna do. 200 mountain climbers for the 200 flights of however the firefighters. So it's all just crazy. It's the craziest workout you do in the middle, or at least in ROTC. And so it's like 3 a.m, and he had a girlfriend at San Marcos, or in San Marcos at the time. She was going to Texas State, and so he was there. And so I just figured he was staying there that night and was gonna get to PT. Hopefully on time. And at like 3 a.m, we were on a first floor apartment, and I hear this knock at my window because I had locked the deadbolt too.
Oh yeah.
On accident, because I was like, he's not fucking coming back. He's like, dude, come let me in. And so I was like, dude, all right. And I opened it up. I'm like, where the fuck have you been? He's like, it's cool, man. It was worth it. He's like, I'll see you in the morning. And I was like, cool. And so we go and we do the whole workout. I don't know how he did the fucking workout with his fresh tattoo on his fucking right ass cheek. But we do it and we crush the workout. And then, you're just tired and we're walking back and it's, 6 a.m. at that point. And he's ahead of me as we're walking towards the door. He's like down the hallway. He's like, dude, you want to see what I was doing last night? And I go, yeah, for sure. And he starts pulling down his shorts. He pulls down, and on his right ass cheek is just America, fuck yeah. And I go, dude, that's fucking awesome. Like, I for sure, if I had been in San Marcos with him, for sure would have done it too. 100% chance. But no, I didn't. I just had my one Star Wars tattoo.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
But and then, like you have to, like, because there's certain tattoos that have like white nationalist implications. And
Yeah,
white
so
power
they have to take
implications.
pictures of them.
So he had to take a picture of his ass and email it to our XO at the time.
I hope he did like a zoomed out version, like
I don't
his
know how
full
he
ass
did
cheek.
it, but I just remember him texting me. He's like, dude, I'm having to email XO Hoxton a picture of my ass right now. And I'm like, dude, that's hilarious.
Oh man,
So funny. But yeah, that's strange with his ass tattoo.
an all-time low.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so yeah, I totally would have done it. In fact, like the first, like I was trying to get a tattoo the night that we killed Osama. Went out and partied fucking hard.
Of course, yeah.
On 6th Street, like I wore my U.S. hockey jersey, like, and it was May, right? Yeah, so it was fucking hot, and I'm in this long sleeve hockey jersey, partying my ass off, and it's close. It's like 1 a.m. maybe. I'm like, dude, we gotta find a fucking tattoo parlor right now. I was like, I'm getting a tattoo tonight, and there's none open, thankfully, because it was like a Tuesday night or whatever.
Oh, on Dirty Six? Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. And I doubt they would have let me get one anyway, because I was plastered out of my mind. But yeah, so.
You can go get them some night. I'm down.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We could do that. I need to get another one. I want to get the gray Jedi symbol here, and I want to get Captain America here.
Oh, yeah.
And then I gotta figure out probably maybe inside here. I'm gonna do a Chiefs one now.
Fuck yeah.
I was always in my mind. I was like, I want to get a Chiefs tattoo at some point, but when we win a Super Bowl.
Perfect chance.
And so I was like, okay, so I'm just never getting a Chiefs tattoo for the longest time in my life.
I have a Lord of the Rings one. I have a Lord of the Rings tattoo.
Where?
Right, like on my side.
Nice. What is it?
It's the burglar symbol from The Hobbit, actually. It's from the book.
Shit.
The one from
Okay.
the book that Gandalf puts on Bilbo's door.
I'm trying to think of what that looks like.
It's like the ruins. I mean, you can see it. Yeah. You can't really see it, but.
Oh.
Kinda.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It hurt like all hell.
I've heard those ones fucking. Kate's got one, yeah.
Ribs,
and it's
yeah.
a small one, but yeah, I've heard those ones because it, like right on your ribs.
Yeah.
I heard that in like the spine.
Yeah.
Really
I haven't
hurt.
had a spine one.
Because this one didn't. I mean, it's just the inside. Like that didn't really hurt much at all. And it took like 15 minutes.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Good.
And then my friend Alicia, hers has the TIE fighter shooting at the X-wing.
Oh,
in the same
wow.
spot, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're pretty cool kids. Yeah, we'll go get tatted up sometime.
Fuck yeah. I'm trying to get a sleeve, maybe.
I've thought about it. My work is super cool with it. But like, so this arm is just going to be Star Wars. Whatever I do is Star Wars. And then, I don't know, Captain
Chiefs.
America and Chiefs. My
Perfect.
two other loves.
Yeah. Perfect.
I want to get like a Texas one too somewhere. I don't know where. Maybe on my chest.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love Texas. But I don't know. I plan on dying here, but then also I'm like, I may have to move at some point. And New Hampshire's
Just
the
don't
other
even
place
think
that
about
I
it.
would move to.
Oh, really?
Live free or die state. Yeah, there's a really cool, it's called the Free State Project. It's like a bunch of liberty-minded folks got together to live in a place. And they chose New Hampshire because it was small and like it's got the live free or die motto as the state motto. And the whole idea was like to show that you can live these liberty principles in a community and it works. And then also like getting that many people together, they can vote. And so like the government in New Hampshire is like very like liberty leaning, and so like they have like very almost non-existent gun laws, which is awesome. And then in this particular Free State Project, you can go to a bar and pay in cryptocurrency.
Wow.
And like all that. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I've never been in New Hampshire.
Me neither. I want to go up to they do like this pork fest thing there at the Free State Project, so I want to go up there and just see what it is. Because part of it's like I love my libertarian people, but most of them are fucking weird as fuck, and so like I would want to go see like, okay, how fucking weird is it in this particular, like, could I move to New Hampshire and maybe just not live in this particular spot so that my girlfriend Kate doesn't lose her mind around all these nutcases.
Yeah.
But and then the other places like Belize,
Oh,
just in case I need to go to a non-extradition country if shit hits the fan or something.
I went on a cruise there, so I was only there for like 10 hours. It's my favorite place, though.
Tara's got a bunch of family there, like semi grew up there.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I've heard it's gorgeous, and so like Tara would be able to tell me like where to go and all that kind of shit. And
how was y'all's Valentine's Day? What'd you do?
Nothing. Kate, Friday's like one of her long days.
Oh,
so she worked until like, she didn't get home till like 9 last night. So we're gonna do something, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, but more likely next weekend. So we'll go out, which is kind of nice too. We won't have to deal with all the Valentine's Day
crowds,
madness and all that.
Yeah.
How about you? Did you do anything fun?
I was working. I took Willie on a hot date.
Willie?
My little dog. Yeah,
Willie's cute as shit.
Yeah, he's perfect. He's the love of my life. Yeah. So.
And then, okay, so is, what's the three-legged one's name?
Scruffy.
So is he with your parents now?
Yeah,
okay.
So when I went to flight school, I was going to be swamped, just like 14-hour days every day. So I had Scruffy for, I think, 3 years before that, and she's the fucking love of my life. I love her so much. Cute. Yeah, she's perfect.
They look semi-similar.
Yeah, so...
It's like one's got 4 legs.
Yeah, one's got an extra leg. So my parents took her for me, and then they refused to have her give her back. So
dude, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Like my mom, my sister and her boyfriend got a pit bull puppy, and he was so cute. And then unfortunately, like, so she took him out to, he was with the Ravens. He was playing for the Ravens at the time. So she brought Rollo out to Baltimore when he was still puppy, so he was able to travel just like with her in like a little travel case. And then when they had to fly back, because Asa got cut by the Ravens, and he ended up bouncing around and then playing for the Niners. And then Krista was also pregnant, so she wanted to stick in Northern California near my mom and just make things easier with doctor appointments and everything, because like he used to bounce around to like 3 or 4 different teams before settling in with the Niners eventually, which was nice. Or actually that year I think he settled with the Bengals, and then the next, because he played with the Niners after my niece was born.
Where's he now?
He's coaching at Ohio State.
Oh wow.
So cool. He he's gonna stay there, I think, at least the last time I talked, and then who knows, where he'll end up eventually. I hope that they get to Texas at some point.
Yeah.
But so then they had to fly back with Rollo, and now he's a full-grown fucking pit bull. So he had to fly in the cargo hold, and he lost his mind, and they had like a metal crate because he's so big, and he was like chewing through. He like damaged his teeth, and his mouth was all bloody because he was just chewing. And he has been so skittish of like loud noises for the longest time ever since. And like he lived with my mom for a while after that, and then like it just became like now he's my mom's dog, and like he super got along with my mom's dog, who unfortunately passed back around Thanksgiving, or on Thanksgiving actually. And so now it's just him, but he's come such a long way. Like he's much less timid about things, which is, it's like, dude, you're a 90-pound pit bull. There's nothing in the world you should be afraid of. And his head is like 40 of those pounds. Like his head is massive. He'll come and plop it in your lap sometimes, and you're just like, oh jeez, God, Rollo. He's amazing. But yeah, it's the same type thing where it's just like Krista and Asa were never living in a place that he could like live in again, because when they were living in Southern California, it was really noisy, and he couldn't take it. And so now he's just my mom's dog now. So
can your sister's husband coach basketball at UT? Because we need a basketball coach.
He's a defensive backs coach, so I'm not sure that it would transfer.
Well, maybe.
But
we'll take anybody at this point.
we did swipe their QB coach to be our offensive coordinator, so he does now have an in at UT. Okay. So I'm like, fingers crossed that maybe he'll end up, because more than anything, I would just love to have my niece close.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks watching her grow up via Instagram for the most part, and only seeing her like once a year. I get to see her in a few weeks in March, which is going to be awesome, but it just, they were in Southern California for the longest time, and then now they're in Ohio. And so I'm like, even if you don't coach
It's quite
at
the
UT,
change.
if you could just end up somewhere coaching in Texas, that'd be amazing.
Maybe not A&M, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would even take that an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
God, that would be rough though. I was so happy for him and the opportunity. But I was like, dude, I fucking hate Ohio State so much.
yeah,
I can't fully root for them. I wanted them to win over Clemson because I don't have any reason to root for Clemson.
Right.
Yeah, I'm super excited for him. Stoked for him. He's awesome. He's developed some really awesome relationships with those players, and he's like a great influence on them for them to because he went and he played in the pros. He didn't spend his money on stupid shit. You know, he had one incident ever in the NFL, and it was because he had an Adderall prescription that he didn't let them know about, so he popped on a test and got suspended for it, and that's it. And so, like, he's he didn't like party or do any crazy stupid shit, so he's like the perfect guy to mentor these players that are going to be playing in the NFL.
He wasn't on the stripper bout.
No, he wasn't. It's kind of funny because I'm like, dude, your rookie season, y'all won a Super Bowl. Like, you didn't wild out. He's like, hey, we partied a little bit here or there, but he's like, nah, I mean, he's always been a super smart guy. He went to Cal Poly, which is like one of the hardest schools in California to get into because he's my age. The year that we applied, because that was the only school I applied to in California, and so I think it was like there was 30,000 applicants and they only let in like 3,000.
Damn.
And like I would have gone there if like things hadn't worked out with UT, and I would have had to do Army ROTC because they didn't have a Navy program at Cal Poly.
Dodged a bullet.
Yeah, for sure. So I was actually originally assigned to University of Missouri because that was the first school that I got into. So Navy was like, that's where you're going. I was like, hold on.
Mizzou?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then I got into Michigan and Texas, and I was like, no, I'm going to Texas.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, so my parents took Scruffy, and then I tried to get her back, and they refused. I know she's got a good life up there.
Oh, for sure.
But I miss her so much. And then the guy I was dating at the time in flight school was so sick of hearing me talk about Scruffy and how much I miss Scruffy and showing him pictures of Scruffy. So he legitimately, like, he went on this Facebook page. It's like Alabama buy sell trade because it's like Southern Alabama, like just regna as fuck. Like,
where's the flight school?
It's like Southern Alabama. It's like, so it's Fort Rucker is what it's called. And then they got like Enterprise.
There's a base there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's just fucking middle of nowhere. And it's this Facebook page where you can sell everything from like furniture to baby clothes to live animals, apparently. So he found this
fucking
picture.
Libertarian paradise.
Yeah, exactly. He found this picture of this little white dog, and he was like, look, it looks like Scruffy. Like, do you want to go see if we can get it? And so we were on this list of like 10 different people, and everybody just kept taking him and giving him back. Because I guess he was pretty bad when I first got him, but
okay.
I trained him in a couple months, and now he's the best
thing.
dog
if you're
ever.
willing to put in the work, even, I mean, it's so rare for a dog to be like beyond, training. And you just have to work on them.
He's an angel now.
He's like the snaps he sent me also.
I think he's got some mental issues, but
he does some wild stuff from what I've seen.
Yeah,
whenever you sent that one snap of him where there was like the Longhorns that randomly showed up.
Oh yeah,
near your apartment complex, and he's just losing his mind.
Oh my god! And so he just got attacked like a couple weeks before that. So he was in like a fucking neck brace.
Yeah, you told me about.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So there's a fence and there's the Longhorns, and he's like barking so loud. And I was like, Willie, you're not gonna win that one. He's like 10 pounds, little white thing.
He's a little guy.
Yeah. So
he's awesome.
He's fucking crazy though. I love him so
much.
How
old is he?
Like 4 or 5, I think.
Okay.
And so there was this woman that she would go to kill shelters around there, and she would get the dogs that were about to be put down, and then she would sell them. So she gave them to us for free, but he just kept ending up back at the shelter because he was so bad. But now he's just the best dog in the world. Yeah. So I got really lucky. I still miss Scruffy though.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You get to see him every time you go home. Huh?
Yeah, Christmas and stuff like that. Whenever I go back to Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah. Good old Illinois.
Yeah.
That's where my girlfriend grew up, in Springfield.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
Small
I've been
world.
there a couple times now.
Yeah, the old Land of Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan Not a fan of Lincoln.
Oh no.
That's
Talk for another time.
yeah, probably. That's always a rare one. I forget, like, I'm not always around people who are liberty minded or something, and so, like, I don't know, one time I was somebody brought up Lincoln, and I go, yeah, that fucking tyrant. And then people like look at me like, what are you talking about?
Well, it's like Illinois, that's like their one just accomplishment.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, it's
that and like being the murder capital
exactly.
of the US
Yeah.
in Chicago.
Chirac, good old Chirac. But it's like, it's so shitty there. It's such a shitty state. I think it's the number one state that people are moving out of in the whole country. It's just like, it's so
California
shitty.
might be rivaling it.
You think so? Oh, yeah, I
California's
can see that.
got a lot, and New York actually has got about 100,000 people leaving every year.
I can see that. And University of Illinois, now just to go there is more expensive than going to an out-of-state school.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because they're about bankrupt, aren't they? The whole state.
Mm-hmm.
Where is UI?
Champaign. It's like southern,
Okay.
or not southern, south from where I live, south from Chicago.
Pretty much everything.
It's like
Southern
in the
Illinois
middle.
at that
Yeah,
point.
exactly. In the middle of nowhere, cornfields.
Yeah.
But my dad and my sister went there, and they were trying to get me to go there, and I was like, "Fuck no, sorry.
Yeah,
I need to get
yeah.
the fuck out of this state."
Dude, that's so fun. So what made you choose Texas? Did you have any reason other than it was warm?
No, my criteria was warm, big school, and good football. I didn't exactly get the. I didn't exactly get the good football, but.
Oh, that's right.
I got the fun games at
Dude,
least.
the first 2 years I was here, we lost one game.
Ugh.
Or 2 games total.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm about to be 30 next month.
Oh, okay.
So I got here in 08 for Colts junior year.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we only lost the one game, which kept us out of the fucking national
Yeah.
championship.
I didn't get here till 2011. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was the middle of it.
Rough, yeah.
I don't know. I felt like we had turned a corner, and then this season happened. And then, and somehow we were the best. Like, we gave LSU their best game all season.
Yeah.
All season long. We were the only team that looked like we legitimately could have beaten them. If they don't get that 3rd and 17 touchdown pass, I think we might win. And if we get that onside kick, I think we might win.
It's a good game. Yeah, next year, right? The notorious next year. I sound like the Cubs fan that I am. There's always next year, yeah.
But there was the year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my God,
There was the year.
That was the most
that?
ridiculous series of any sporting event that's ever happened. I still go
I
back.
wanted both teams to win because I was like, both these fan bases deserve it.
Oh my God. I still go back and cry just when I watch it. Like, it was so
I'm
unbelievable.
sure it's going to be the same thing for me. Because didn't Game 7 have like the long delay too?
And it went in, and it went
And
into
then
extra innings. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dude, that series was fucking
Oh,
wild.
I was bawling my eyes out.
I
Oh my
bet.
God. Yeah.
So were you like diehard from the time you could remember things, basically?
Yeah. So I grew up going to Wrigley Field, and then my dad, he's like a food scientist. I don't exactly know what he does really, but he used to work, or he does still work with McDonald's.
Same way with my mom. Like I love, like my mom does healthcare type shit.
I was like, I don't know what the fuck.
Like my dad, it's easy. He's a detective, or he was a detective. Like he's retired now.
Oh, I didn't
like,
know that.
Yeah, my dad, he was homicide for 6 years, and then he spent like 14 in robbery and burglary. That was where he ended.
Oh, that's awesome.
And now he just works part time, doing the like background checks on academy applicants.
Oh, damn! Maybe he'll get my name in there sometime.
If you want to go in Sacramento.
Oh, well, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see. Okay, what were we talking about? The Cubs.
Yeah. The Cubs.
Okay, so there was this thing that my dad's work would do where we would get to go down on Wrigley before a game, and so I got to go down, and I threw some pitches with, I can't remember who it was at the time, but I was really young, probably like 6. And then afterwards we got little baseballs and we got to do autographs. So I met Sammy Sosa, my biggest idol. He's like
No way.
I know. All my idols just turn out to be crazy.
Have you seen him recently?
Yeah.
What the
I don't know.
fuck?
I don't know.
Like, dude.
I don't know. Yeah. And the same with Brett Favre. Brett Favre is my childhood idol, and now
He's a lot less weird. He just
Yeah.
had like the dick pic thing that happened. I mean, who hasn't?
Oh yeah.
Who hasn't had dick pic
Who
thing go
who
on?
hasn't fired off a few dick pics here and there? Yeah.
That's,
Right. Yeah. We've
you
all
just
done
send
it.
it to, like, you don't send it to like an Instagram famous model when
Yeah.
you do it.
Yeah, we've all done it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm sure you've sent a whole lot of dick pics.
Oh yeah. That would take another 10 minutes to explain probably. So I met Sammy Sosa, Dusty Baker, Derek Lee, Kerry Wood, Mark Pryor, all those like my childhood idols. It was awesome, and so I've always been like a huge Cubs fan. Like I remember the whole, that guy who caught the ball in the World Series, the whole goat thing. Dude. Oh my God, it's heartbreaking.
That poor guy like has life ruined. And it's like, I mean, who would have known? Like, you don't know if you're even gonna fucking win that game. It's not like,
Yeah, so sad.
Yeah.
But we grew up going to Wrigley. My sister got proposed to like right outside kinda, and she used to have an apartment like 1 block away, so it's a big part of our life.
That's awesome.
The Cubs, yeah.
Yeah, so I bet that World Series was great.
Yeah, it was
that
awesome.
was what a lot of because I like the Royals too, but like I've never been as big into baseball, so like it was really cool seeing them win the World Series. And like that was a very fun team to watch. Like the way they played, that small ball style is like super fun to watch, even when it's on TV. And like the crazy comebacks against like the Astros and the A's and shit. But so it wasn't like it. I was like, dude, that's awesome. I'm super happy for the city of Kansas City, and like this is cool to see. But it didn't hit me in the same way. But like everybody, it's like the Chiefs. The Chiefs got payback on the Niners for the World Series where we lost to the Giants.
Oh, there you go.
And so I was like, okay, that works.
There you go.
That works. Cool. Well, fuck, we ended up now at almost an hour 50. So
Perfect. That was good. We filled the time.
Cool. So you doing any cool stuff that you want to promote that people want to look up or anything like that? Or
so if anybody out there finds themselves in need of a criminal defense investigator, the company I work for is called Mayer Consulting. Catherine. Yeah, sorry, it's a KMAYER consulting.com.
I'm glad I asked. That's silent K there.
Yes. And you can look us up online. We got Facebook too, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I can also do, private investigation kind of thing. And no, I guess that's it.
Cool. If you think somebody's cheating on you.
That's right. Hit me up. Yeah. My Instagram is JFEC, JFEC.
Yeah.
If you need anything, just slide right into those DMs.
Jenna Fechner.
I don't have enough DMs as it is, so I need some more.
I'm sure that's probably not true. I'm sure. I've seen some of the creepers on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for listening, y'all. And I will catch you next time. I don't even know when that might be or what the hell I'll be talking about, but you'll find out as soon as it comes out. I'll find out at some point later on. Thanks, y'all.